Welcome to Elimishwe kwa maswala ya jamii. Tutumbuizwe sana mbalimbali, tujuzwe juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, twawapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
And a very, very good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli. Welcome to the show Nobody Cares. Of course, this is the second part of emotional manipulation and blackmail. In case you missed out, we told us what it is to be emotionally manipulated, and of course, what it is that you need to know as things goes by. So in case you left out this, remember, you can always rewatch this show on our YouTube channel, that is The ArtsinHeart Official on YouTube. And we are equally streaming on our Twitter page, rather our Twitter handle, that is The ArtsinHeart Official. And without forgetting our Facebook page, The ArtsinHeart. So hit that subscription button. Now, over the week, I've been having quite some discussions with friends, and they told me, Ellie, I thought I was safe until I noticed I wasn't. And why is this? Most of the time, we feel like we are inclined to go with some of the signals we receive from the people we love, the people we care about, and even sometimes the kind of bosses that we have. Yes, I dare tell you, you might just be a victim of blackmail when it comes to work. So now, how then do you disentangle yourself from that? Because you remember, Eshuchi Lumumba covered this last week, and they talked about, the FOG, or the fog, which is a theory, rather a phrase that is being told by Susan Forward. Susan Forward is a great, great therapist, and of course, a psychologist. She has written enough books on these issues. And fog, for those who do not know, stands for fear. Fear that the person that you are answerable to feel like you will feel like they want to leave you because you did not subscribe to some of their needs or demands. Then there's the matter of that comes into play, that is obligation. And you're there questioning, obligation, yes, I'm obliged because probably we signed some contractual obligations with this individual. Could be verbal, could be, of course, official or otherwise, but they're still obligations. So you always feel the need to respond to their needs or demands just because you have that obligation sort of package with them. Then there is the other person, you feel like, okay, this person anaenda atanichezea, atanifanyia and all that. So the FOG comes into play, and these are things we need to go back to school when it comes to art in heart. So nobody cares. What was my friend telling me when we were having this discussion, and they asked me, Ellie, how do I get out of this? Now, there's no simple way out, and there's no hard way out, but there is one way out. The first instance is for you to realize, are you actually a victim of emotional blackmail? And you realize emotional blackmail, what it does, it puts you in a position that you are unable to get yourself out of a situation because you feel like there'll be repercussions that will either damage the way you relate with this individual or this, party that has some emotional connection with you. And let's break it down to an environment of relationship. In a relationship, the most challenging aspect is saying no to the person that you love, right? Most of the time, we want to give into the demands. For example, you are with your bae and they tell you, you know what, tonight, thing is going down. Thing is going down. And you're like, today is not one of those days I want to do or engage in this. And then they're like, okay, you know what, if you are not going to do this, then I walk out because this relationship means nothing anymore to me. Okay. So because of the fear that you have that this person is going to walk out of the relationship and probably leave you, singing to the song Lonely Soul, Mr. Lonely, thank you to Akon, what happens? You give in to the demand. So what you need to do right now is be able to know, how do you tackle that fear that things might not go as they're supposed to be going, especially for you because you care about this person. This is a manipulation. That's what you have to identify, that this is a manipulation, because the persons that we care about are supposed to bring comfort to us. They are supposed to bring some sort of reassurance. They're supposed to bring us to the point of realizing that this person got my back. But when they use fear to manipulate you, then you are just in for blackmail. Okay? So let's go back to our channel, and if there's somebody that is watching, let's see who is there and what are they saying. I have Kevin Odhiambo says, nice. I have no idea. Okay, Scott Yobra, you have no idea. Majariwa Faustino Wapenda Amani amesema nice. Okay, that's it for now. Let's go back to the matter at hand. So we've talked about fear. And I want you to sit down and ask yourself, how many times have you been in a position that you felt as though you are afraid to lose something that is valuable? What instigated that feeling? Was it because there were demands being put on you? Before we went live, I made some funny joke online, and what I said was, a lot of bays right now are sitting at home watching Netflix. Yeah, I know it's the holiday season and, you're supposed to be having fun. And Bay is working. So Bay is seated at home eating. You know what Bay I'm talking about. And then there's Bay that is working throughout the day. And then it's raining. So it's been quite a cold day. And instead of the other Bay that is at home showing support by comforting this other individual, they only care about their eating. So the other Bay will say, you know what? It's done. If you are not going to help me out of my situation and all you care about is your comfort, it's done between us. I'm not going to pursue this line of thought. Now, that is the difference. The difference here is there is a party that feels it is giving more than they are receiving. So instead then of voicing your need, of voicing your concern, what do? You apply blackmail. Because I'm working and you are home seated and you are enjoying life, whereas I'm working hard to provide for all of us, then you do not deserve me. Now realize, provision or being in a position to provide for the people you care about is not entirely wrong. It's actually great that you're able to provide. It's a great thing that you can be able to put food on the table, rather food on the table. And once you put your foot down to ensure that this thing is done the right way, then you are able to have a great conversation as a couple, as a partner, as a union. But when one party feels this imbalance of power because you want to manipulate them, because you have probably the possibility to bring more on the table, what happens? You make them feel like they do not deserve you. Okay? You make them feel like they are not the right person to be in the position they are in with you. So you are here, you have the possibility to provide, you have the possibility to earn a better living than them. Instead of voicing your concern, you know what, we can come together as a team and make things better between us and ensure we are able to move to the next level. What do? You now use your money to make them bow to your demands. So if you want your house cleaned, who is the first house help? The person that is staying home. If you want your clothes cleaned, who is the first person that you're gonna, you know what? I'm the one that brings food on the table. I'm the one that makes sure there's roof over your head. And therefore, you must respect, you must do, and you must do. So your demands are constantly making this person useless in the union. Okay. Now, when do you set the limit on how far this individual can come? Because that's the most important aspect you have to realize, that you must always set a limit. And Nancy says, good evening. Good evening to you, Nancy. How are you doing tonight? Gorin says, tuned in, and welcome to the show, sir. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Let's see here. For some people, whatever you do, it will never be enough. Have you been in such a situation that all you're doing seems noticeable? I mean, nobody notices what you do. The efforts you put into it, absolutely nobody notices that you are doing something about the situation. Fact is, some people are very ungrateful in nature. And the worst part is they will constantly see what you did not do. I know, right? Trying to sound like Doctor Who. They will constantly see what you did not do, but they will not appreciate the efforts you made and the things you made to ensure that things are running smooth in that place. So what do? Remember this. Nobody actually cares. I want to take some of your comments as we come back from the break. And as we do that, let's see how do you set the limits to ensure that you as a person continues enjoying a fruitful relationship, either formal or informal. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, my name is JP and you are watching TheArtsinHeart. Please follow us on our YouTube channel, like, subscribe and share. May God bless you.
And yes, welcome back. You're hanging out with me, Likuyani Eli. This is our last Nobody Cares episode of this year. So remember, if you haven't touched on any of them, you can always hit back on our YouTube channel. That is the TheArtsinHeart Official. Remember to subscribe, share, and invite your friends, family, and enemies in all aspects to be part of the conversation. So, Nobody Cares tonight is still on manipulation and setting the limit. So where do we start setting the limit? You need to understand that the whole idea of having a manipulative partner, and I'm not talking just matters relationship or romantic aspects. I'm talking all sorts of relationships, okay? Could be business, could be otherwise, could be, father, mother, son, all those kind of relationships. They're important to be put in checks and balances. The biggest way somebody is able to manipulate you emotionally or blackmail you for that matter is when they have the ability or possibility to create a very significant power imbalance. Okay? Power imbalance. So, before I get to some of the pointers we have tonight, let me just get a few comments here from Benga Calvin. Calvin says, very, very true. Thank you so much, Calvin. That's what happens in this kind of situations. Kiporora, good evening to you, madam. How are you doing? Such kind of people that think staying at home is fun. That word. There must be a good reason. Okay? Even if to work from Monday to Friday, you still have to help with house chores one way or another. Wow, wow. I think this is something Coach Collins Bolo will be more than happy to tackle when we come back from the long Art in Heart break. So make sure you join him as we return with season 3 of Family Edition. Phyllis Wanjiru says, hey, watching from Saudi Arabia, relationships is a two-way traffic. Do your part and I will do my part. If we aren't appreciative to one another, I'll see the door stepping big. Kanyaga kubwa kubwa, literally translated. Okay, sawa sana. Anaitwa Masi Ethan anasema supu. And of course, let's continue with the conversation. Taking back power, you have to set limit and boundaries. That is important. Note that. Set the limit and boundaries. So work together, and allow me to read this from my notes, please. Work together to put the relationship on track. And if that doesn't work, I need you to hear me. If that doesn't work, take distance from the person who is blackmailing you. Enough times, we are able to identify with the people that are blackmailing us. And why? Because they are actually dear to us. You know, if we have nothing that we share in common that is very sentimental for that aspect, there's very little I can hold against you. And I'm talking about emotional aspect, okay? If there's nothing I can hold, for example, assuming you are hired to do a specific function in a company, and the company says, you know, this is what is expected of you. Most of the time, they are the do's and the don'ts. And then there's the extras. What more can we request from you? One day, you fall unwell or as you fall sick and you are not able to perform your duties as it's supposed to be done. What happens? Take a sick leave. When you come back, your boss tells you, you know what? You've been away for 5 days. This company is feeling that you are letting us down. You are not the ideal person for this company. We are considering your position with us. Now, this could be true when it comes to the HR policies. But probably it is not true because they're just trying to find a reason to put you away. And what happens then? They put you in that aspect of feeling loss is approaching. So a lot of us will do our very best to hold on to those jobs, despite the fears, despite the ache we have, because we feel we have an obligation to fulfill. Meanwhile, it is interfering with your mental wellness. Okay? Mind you, you are only but human. You can fall sick. And I'm not talking about those guys who fake their sickness on Monday morning because Friday walikuwa sherehe, and then Saturday, and then Sunday walikuwa natoa lock, and then lock decided not to unlock. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people that are sincerely unwell and unable to perform for one or two reasons. That is scenario number one when it comes to the workspace. Now, the other space is, you know, you are a lady. You're working hard to get promotion, okay? What happens? Unfortunately, we want to face it, we want to deny it. Women still have to struggle with the hurdles put in front of them to climb the corporate ladder. And most of the time, what tactics will be engaged could be sexual advances. And once they refuse them, there are consequences for that. So you need to set your boundaries. And if this doesn't work, what do? Take your space away from your predator. It's easier said, I know that. And most of you will say, yeah, Ellie, you are only speaking because you're a man. No, I'm not speaking because I'm a man. I'm speaking because I care. Because nobody actually cares. Okay? And I do have a daughter for that matter. Okay? And I have women in my life that I care about, including the very woman that gave me life. So I wouldn't be happy to see you in that space. But what you have to realize that the power to take distance, a safe one, lies within you. Okay? Set your boundaries. Okay? As you do that, remember you are equally doing what we call cutting the rope with toxic person. Never feel guilty. That is the G that I left out when I was talking about FOG, fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. And Susan Forward Chapeau, you talk about it very clearly in your books. So once you feel you are needed or not really needed in that relationship because of this manipulation, the first thing or the second thing you want to do is cut off that relationship because it's toxic. And anytime you exist in a toxic relationship or environment, your mental well-being is equally and highly affected. You see, I remind you the stories of the slave generation, whereby a slave was made a slave, and when it was time to get the emancipation, most of them never left. It's told a story of an ox that every time the master had a pin, okay, the ring on his nostril, okay, and every time it tried to veer off, what happened? The ring restrained it. That is story number one. Story number two, because of time, story of a bull or an ox that was very, very well built, but the master made sure that it had a tied, a lot on its hooves. Ilikuwa imewekewa wire, a mesh, how you call it, a buzz wire or something of that sort. And every time this bull tried to move, it was pulling so hard that it was cutting into the skin. So what happened? The bull got used to being in that environment. And when finally it was rescued from that situation and cut loose, it still continued stay in that position. What am I trying to tell us is you might not realize how much pain you're going through because you've gotten used to being in pain. You've gotten used to staying in that not so comfortable that has become comfortable position in your life. But time comes when you have to realize you must set yourself free from this toxic environment, because the more you stay in it, it keeps making you a slave to your situation. Okay? Most of the time, a lot of people want to fight back when there is a situation that arises and they feel like they are under attack. That is very human. But learn one thing: there is need to employ non-defensive communication. Realize that for this kind of mental manipulation and creation of fear and guilt in one to exist, the perpetrator always maximizes on conflict. So if I tell you, hi, I've come home, you didn't cook, and that's all you've been doing, watching film the whole day, what is the first thing you will do? You will tell me, no, but that's not what I did. But I have been doing this. The other person gets an opportunity to continue building on the tension. Learn to employ non-defensive communication. That could be like, you know what? Is that how you feel about my day? Yes, of course. But that's your opinion. What have you done? You have diffused this attack. That's what you have done. So this person is unable to continue engaging because there's nothing giving them opportunity to build on their reasons to manipulate you to do or bow to their demands. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish I would exhaust all the aspects of this conversation tonight. I wish I would bring all the aspects that you so much desire to hear tonight. But before I do that, I want to tell you something. What emotional blackmail does to you as a person, it cuts deep into you, such that you lose the core things that you hold dear to yourself. And that, for many, is self-esteem. Self-esteem is what makes a man, if you want to replace it with a woman. We need to work 24/7, 365 days to shield that which is dear to us. That's what makes you, your self-esteem. And remember, you just don't wake up and lose your self-esteem. This is done by the things and people that you keep in your closet. If they are not good for you, walk away. In fact, I dare you, flee from that environment. When I see who is saying what in the comment section, I hope we have some interaction there. Jakita, one thing we should not accept to be dragged down because of the people with feeling of inferiority. They just want to drop their fears on you. Thank you so much, Jakita, for that contribution. Just what I needed to hear. Great topic. Asante sana, Kipro Roda. And most people take our kindness for our weakness. I hope you learned one or two things tonight. And if you didn't, I want to close my discussion with you tonight with a short story. A week or so ago, a person close to me was kidnapped for a few hours. Fortunately, let me give the spoiler, nothing extraordinary that was harm happened to them. But they tell me during that period where they didn't know where they were being taken to and who are these people and what they wanted, there's only two things that came to her. She actually saw her death and saw her children. I want you to take a moment and think about your well-being. Your well-being is as good as your life. And any moment, it can come to an end. Question is, how well would you have lived your life? We are constantly chasing after things to be happy. That's who we are, human beings. We are constantly chasing after people to fill the void that we feel is, covering our lives. But how often do we get to spend time with people that make us feel better from inside outside? And hey, I'm not talking about your other end of us, talking about the person here. Remember, Nobody Cares returns January on Tuesday as we begin a new year. All we can say is keep your mental wellness in check. And above all, remember, it is your work to take care of yourself. My name is Likuyani Eli, and I wish you a very, very happy holiday. See you next year. Same place, same channel. Remember to subscribe, share, and like our pages if you haven't. And for those who do not know what we are all about, we are about educating, engaging, informing, and entertaining you. Until next time, see you. God bless.